The hangar on Outpost Sigma smelled like burnt circuits and ozone. It was the kind of smell that meant things were finally working or about to explode. Lieutenant Ryan Hale, a human engineer from Earth, crouched beside a small shuttle with its panels open and wires tangled like metal vines. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and smiled at his own messy work. "Don't touch that stabilizer," he warned over his shoulder. It's still a curious voice interrupted him. "Still unstable? You humans love danger," he turned. Standing a few steps away was Cerise, the alien girl who had recently joined their crew. She was from the Ilnari, a race known for their silver eyes and crystal blue skin that shimmered under light. She was tall, graceful, and curious about every human thing she could find. Ryan blinked. "You again. Don't you have better things to study than my half-dead ship?" "I study everything," she said with a calm smile. "Especially things that shouldn't work, but somehow do. Like humans." Ryan chuckled. "You say that like it's a compliment." "It is," she said simply. Cerise stepped closer, her long fingers brushing over a panel. "What is this function?" "That," he said, "is the gravity modulator. It stabilizes the field inside the cockpit when the ship's running in atmospheric mode." Cerise tilted her head. "May I try to adjust it?" Ryan hesitated. "Be gentle," he said, half-jokingly. She smiled softly, but before she could move, his hand slipped. He reached to steady a loose cable, missed his grip, and the whole system sparked alive. A flash of white light filled the hangar. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was spinning, but not because of the light. The shuttle's console had activated, and the air shimmered around them like liquid glass. Gravity itself seemed to twist. "Cerise," he called out. "I'm here." Her voice echoed strangely, like two voices speaking at once. He looked around and froze. The shuttle, Cerise, and he were no longer in the hangar. They were floating in the void, surrounded by streaks of blue and white light. It wasn't normal space travel. This was something else, a slipstream. How did this happen?" Ryan asked, struggling to control his breath. Cerise stared at the console. "You connected the energy loop without safety calibration. It reacted with my biofield. We've created a phase rift. In English, please." "We broke reality," she said flatly. Ryan groaned. "Great. First week working with an alien, and I break the universe." She tilted her head, her silver eyes glowing faintly. "Not broken. Just redirected. The Elnaries studied slipspace once. Few survived." He looked at her in disbelief. "You're telling me we might die in here?" "Possibly. Unless—" She hesitated, looking at him. "Unless you trust me." They floated near the console, surrounded by glowing energy currents that moved like rivers of light. Ryan could see her trembling slightly, though she tried to hide it. He took a breath. "All right. What do I do?" "Place your hand here," she said, touching a crystal node on the panel. "Your human neural current might stabilize the field if I link with it." Ryan hesitated. "You sure this won't fry me?" Her lips curved. "No, but you said be gentle." "I will." Ryan placed his hand beside hers. For a moment nothing happened, then warmth spread through his arm. The crystal pulsed, and suddenly he could feel her thoughts. Not words, but feelings, curiosity, fear, wonder. She gasped softly. "Your mind. It's loud." "Loud?" he asked, eyes widening. "Emotions, memories. You burn so bright, like a star about to collapse." Ryan grinned faintly despite the danger. "That's humans for you." Then the light around them surged again. The ship shuddered. The slipstream cracked like glass. They crashed, but not into space. The shuttle slammed down on rocky ground, skidding across what looked like black stone. Ryan's head throbbed as he unbuckled himself. The air was breathable, heavy with dust. A crimson sky stretched above them, with two suns glowing in the distance. "Where are we?" he muttered. Cerise stepped outside, scanning the horizon. Her eyes widened. "Impossible. This is not mapped space." Meaning, no one has ever recorded this region. It's outside known galaxies, Ryan climbed out beside her, taking in the strange world. Jagged cliffs rose from the ground like broken teeth, and metallic vines crawled across them. In the distance, faint lights blinked, almost like structures. "Well," he said, brushing dirt off his jacket, "guess we're the first tourists." Cerise looked at him with something between irritation and admiration. "You joke easily for someone lost between galaxies." He shrugged. "If I stop joking, I start panicking." They began walking toward the lights. The terrain shifted beneath their boots, sometimes glowing faintly where they stepped. The world felt alive. After an hour, they reached a structure, tall, smooth, black as obsidian. Strange runes pulsed faintly across its surface. Cerise reached out and touched one. "This isn't Ilnari. It's older. Much older." Ryan looked closer. "Think it's dangerous?" She smiled faintly. "Everything is dangerous to you humans, and yet you still touch it." Before he could answer, the runes lit up brighter. A hum filled the air. The wall opened like liquid, revealing a vast chamber filled with floating orbs of light. Ryan's jaw dropped. "Now this looks like trouble." Cerise walked in, entranced. "No. This looks like history." As they entered, the orbs shifted, projecting images into the air, alien ships, battles, and strange beings. One image froze above them, a massive figure with wings of light, holding a sphere that looked exactly like the one in their shuttle. Ryan frowned. "What's that?" Cerise whispered. "The core of creation. It was said to be lost before any civilization began. If this is real—" She turned to him, her eyes bright. "Ryan, your mistake may have found the oldest relic in the universe." He blinked. "You mean my hand slip just rewrote history?" "Yes," she said softly. "And perhaps destiny." They stared at the projection as the lights dimmed and the chamber trembled. Outside, the ground cracked open and distant shadows began to move. Cerise looked toward the entrance. "Something knows we're here," Ryan sighed. "Of course it does." He flexed his bruised hand, the one that caused all this. "Next time I'm wearing gloves." Cerise smiled despite the danger. "Next time, I'll remind you to be gentle." He laughed and nervous. Human laugh that echoed through the ancient chamber, and for the first time, she laughed too. Above them, the relic pulsed again. As if answering, everything had changed. The air inside the black structure grew heavier. Ryan Hale could feel the hum of unseen energy beneath his boots, like the entire place was waking up. The light from the glowing orbs flickered, and ancient whispers echoed through the chamber walls. Cerise stood beside him, her silver eyes wide. "The core of creation," she murmured again, almost in awe. "It responds to us." Ryan squinted at the floating sphere in the center. "Yeah, and it's probably not saying welcome." A deep vibration rolled through the floor, followed by a sound like a heartbeat. "Boom, boom, boom, Osiris," Ryan said, stepping back. "That thing's alive." She tilted her head. "Not alive. A sentient mechanism. It senses consciousness." He sighed. "So, it can think. Great, that's not terrifying at all." The pulse grew stronger until a beam of light shot upward, painting strange symbols across the ceiling. They glowed for a moment, then exploded outward, showing scenes like memories. Galaxies forming, stars bursting, civilizations rising and falling. Cerise reached out, her hand trembling. This is the memory of creation itself." Ryan stared. "You're saying we're looking at the universe's diary?" She didn't laugh. "If that is true, then we've touched something no being should ever touch." Before they could react, a voice filled the chamber. It wasn't human or Ilnari. It was ancient, heavy, echoing directly in their minds. Two sparks awaken the core. One of matter. One of spirit. Balance must return. Ryan froze. "Tell me that was you," Cerise whispered. "No. It spoke to both of us." "The balance is broken. Shadows rise. The keepers come." The lights dimmed and the ground cracked again. Ryan stumbled. "Shadows. Keepers. What's it talking about?" Cerise's expression turned serious. The Keepers were myths. Beings said to protect the core. If they exist, we must leave. Now they ran toward the entrance, but the moment they stepped outside, the crimson sky changed. Black clouds swirled like ink, and from them descended glowing shapes, tall, armored figures with eyes like fire. Those the Keepers? Ryan asked. Cerise nodded slowly. Yes, and they don't look pleased. The nearest Keeper landed with a thunderous impact. Its armor shimmered with energy older than stars. It raised an arm, pointing directly at them. Unworthy. Return the core or face dissolution. Ryan glanced at Cerise. You understand that? She nodded. They want us to surrender it. Well, it's still inside the structure, Ryan said, backing away. They can have it. I'm not fighting space angels. But the Keeper moved closer. The contamination remains. You have touched what must never be touched. A beam of dark light fired toward them, but Cerise reacted first. Her hands glowed with blue energy, forming a shield that rippled like glass. The impact sent her sliding backward. Ryan caught her before she fell. Hey, you okay? I can hold them, she said through clenched teeth, but not for long. Then we run. They turned and sprinted toward the crashed shuttle. The world shook behind them as the Keepers descended. One beam struck near their path, sending shards of rock flying. Ryan ducked behind a ridge. We need a plan. Cerise looked at the shuttle. If we reactivate the core fragment in your ship, we can open another rift. It may return us home. May. She gave a quick nod. 50% chance, he smirked. Better odds than usual. They reached the shuttle just as another explosion hit the ground. Ryan dove inside, flipping switches while Cerise held her hands against the panel, sending blue light through the circuits. The ship trembled to life, systems sparking. Power online, Ryan muttered. Engines, maybe? The screen flashed red. Core energy detected. Cerise's eyes widened. It followed us, before he could ask what she meant. The small fragment of the core they had accidentally activated earlier floated from the storage crate. It pulsed with the same rhythm as before. Boom, boom, boom. The energy spread across the ship, turning every light blue. Ryan's body tingled with the charge. Cerise, he said, gripping the console. What's happening? The core has bonded to you, she whispered. Your neural signature is compatible. It's choosing you. Ryan blinked. It what? The ship lifted off the ground on its own. Outside, the Keepers surrounded them, forming a ring of light. The core must not merge with mortal kind. Purge the anomaly. Guess that means me, Ryan said. Cerise turned to him, determination shining in her eyes. You must fly us through their circle. I will shield us. He gripped the controls. Let's see if humans can outfly ancient space gods. The engines roared, and the shuttle blasted forward. The Keepers fired beams of dark energy, but Cerise extended both hands, her shield flaring brighter. Sparks flew across the console as Ryan twisted the controls, dodging the attacks. Left, she shouted. He jerked the ship sideways, narrowly avoiding a beam that turned a mountain into vapor. Ryan grinned through the chaos. You sure you're not enjoying this? Humans are insane, she muttered. But there was a hint of laughter in her voice. They burst through the final gap in the Keeper. Circle, and the moment they cleared it, Ryan hit the activation switch for the phase drive. Hold on. The world turned white again. Silence. When the light faded, the stars returned familiar ones. Ryan checked the readings. We're back. Near Sigmanine. Cerise slumped in her seat, exhausted. You did it, he smiled weakly. We did it. Before they could relax, alarms blared. The console showed multiple ships approaching, not Keepers, but human ones. Sigma Fleet Defense. Ryan opened a channel. This is Lieutenant Hale of Outpost Sigmanine. We've had a small navigation accident. The reply came instantly. Lieutenant Hale, your craft vanished for 17 hours. We thought you were lost. What happened out there? Ryan looked at Cerise. They both knew the truth would sound insane. He exhaled. Just a little experiment gone wrong. Nothing to worry about. Cerise gave him a knowing look. You call surviving cosmic guardians nothing? Smiled. I call it a learning experience. Back at the outpost, the shuttle was taken for analysis. Scientists poked and scanned, but the core fragment refused to activate again. It stayed dormant, like a sleeping heart. Ryan stood beside the window, staring out into the stars. He felt different. The core had touched him somehow. He could sense faint pulses of energy around machinery. Feel the hum of electric life. Cerise joined him quietly. You feel it too, don't you? He nodded slowly. Yeah, like the universe is whispering. She looked thoughtful. You carry part of the core's essence now. That bond can never be undone. He turned to her. Is that good or bad? Both, she said simply. It makes you dangerous to those who fear change, and valuable to those who seek it. He laughed softly. So basically, I'm a cosmic target. Cerise smiled. A hero, perhaps. If you survive long enough. He met her gaze, alien and beautiful, glowing faintly in the dim light. Guess we'll find out together. But outside, far beyond the outpost's radar range, in the dark between stars, something stirred. The Keeper's armor cracked open in the void, revealing black liquid forms beneath. They had failed to reclaim the core, but now they had found the new bearer's signature. Their eyes burned like distant suns as they spoke. A single word into the cold of space. Human. Ryan Hale felt the hum of energy inside him like a pulse. The core's fragment, now dormant in the shuttle, had left a permanent imprint. He could sense life around him, the faint vibration of engines, whispers of electronics, even the heartbeat of distant stars. Cerise stood beside him, her silver eyes scanning the readouts. The Keepers won't give up. They've traced your signature across galaxies. Ryan rubbed his forehead. Great cosmic bodyguards on steroids hunting me. Just another Tuesday. Don't joke, Cerise said. They aren't human. They don't reason. They obey their prime directive. Reclaim the core. Ryan clenched the console. And if they catch me? She hesitated. They will destroy everything, including us. Unless you use the core inside you. He froze. You mean me? Use me as a weapon. Her gaze softened. It's not a weapon. It's your potential. Humans are unpredictable. The one thing even the Keepers cannot calculate. Ryan blinked. Unpredictable? That's my superpower? Cerise smiled faintly. Yes, that and stubbornness. Two traits they cannot control. Outside the shuttle, the void trembled. A fleet of Keepers appeared, descending in formation, black ships glinting under distant starlight. Their voices, distant yet sharp, echoed in Ryan's mind. Return the core, or be erased. Right. Ryan exhaled. Okay, let's see how unpredictable I can be. He placed his hands on the controls. Not the shuttle's controls, his hands. He felt energy move through his fingers, through the panels, connecting with every system. The core inside him responded, glowing faintly in his chest. Cerise noticed immediately. Ryan, careful. You're already drawing their attention. Yeah, I know, he muttered, a grin tugging at his lips. But I'm not giving up without a fight. The Keepers fired. Beams of dark energy slashed toward the shuttle. Ryan thought, instead of visualizing paths, anticipating the waves of attack. The shuttle twisted, dodged, and danced around them like a living creature. Cerise's eyes widened. You're controlling it. Apparently, humans make terrible pilots, but great energy conduits. The Keepers adjusted, firing synchronized waves. Ryan sensed the next attack before it came. His hands glowed as the core energy responded. For the first time, he realized the truth. The core didn't just amplify power. It amplified him. He directed energy outward. A ripple expanded from the shuttle, hitting the closest Keeper ships. They convulsed, as if the laws of physics themselves rejected their form. One by one, the fleet began to falter. Cerise gasped. Ryan, you're turning their own power against them. He grinned, adrenaline pumping. Humans always find a way. Suddenly, A massive shadow approached, larger than any ship, a colossal keeper guardian that pulsed with black light. Ryan's stomach twisted. That's not small. Cerise grabbed his arm. It's a super sentinel. Too strong to fight directly. You need strategy. Ryan nodded, thinking fast. All right. Humans are stubborn, yes? And unpredictable, yes. Time to prove it. He reached deep inside, focusing on the pulse of the core within him. A dome of shimmering blue light expanded outward from the shuttle, encapsulating both him and Cerise. The pulse resonated with the Sentinel's energy. For a moment, time seemed to stretch. The Sentinel paused, scanning the energy. It moved closer, slower. Ryan's mind raced. They calculate patterns. But humans are random. He imagined chaos, complete unpredictability, and channeled it. The dome of energy expanded, twisting reality around them. The Sentinel's massive form shattered, not violently, but as if its existence could not align with this new, uncalculated pattern. Cerise stared, wide-eyed. You did it. You defeated it without touching it. Ryan laughed. Humans always win in the end. The rest of the Keeper fleet hesitated. They had seen their strongest fall, and the one who caused it was human. Logic dictated retreat, but their code would not allow surrender. Yet Ryan and Cerise seized the moment. The shuttle lifted higher, beyond the pull of their gravitational anomalies. Ryan reached into the core's energy, feeling the pulse of the universe itself. He could hear faint echoes, stars forming, nebulae breathing, life stirring in distant worlds. He whispered, "Humans. We're just getting started." Cerise touched his shoulder. "You feel it too?" "The potential." Ryan nodded. "Not just humans. Us. Together. Maybe we can rewrite more than just this fight." The core pulsed brighter, responding to their combined determination. Outside, the Keepers hesitated one last time before retreating into the void, their black forms dissolving like shadows in sunlight. For the first time, Ryan felt relief and awe. Humans had survived, and this alien girl beside him had helped him see the universe in a way he never could have alone. Back at Outpost Sigma Nine, alarms rang, but no one noticed Ryan and Cerise stepping out of the shuttle. Scientists swarmed around, eager to analyze the shuttle, but Ryan waved them off. "We're fine," he said. "No need to panic." Cerise leaned against him, her glowing eyes soft. The Keepers know now. They know humans cannot be controlled. Ryan smiled. "And that's a very good thing." A young cadet approached, whispering, "Sir, we detected strange energy readings during your absence." "What happened?" Ryan glanced at Cerise, then back at the cadet. "We went on a field trip and learned a valuable lesson. Humans are always capable of more than anyone expects." The cadet blinked. "Yes, sir." Ryan put a hand on Cerise's shoulder. "And sometimes the universe just needs a little chaos to remind it who's in charge." Cerise chuckled. "Your human arrogance is inspiring. Call it optimism," Ryan said with a grin. "Now we have work to do. We've got galaxies to show humanity." Days passed. The fragment of the core in the shuttle remained stable, responding to Ryan's presence. Scientists monitored him, fascinated by the phenomena, but he smiled and shrugged every time. Cerise taught him to control the energy subtly. At first, he accidentally powered lights, lifted objects, even triggered communication arrays remotely. But soon he could feel patterns in energy flows, sense dangers before they arrived, and manipulate small rifts for observation or escape. Humans, he realized, were not the strongest or the fastest species, but they were adaptable, unpredictable, and relentlessly clever. That made them unstoppable in ways the Keepers could not understand. One night, on the observation deck, Ryan and Cerise stared out at the stars. "You know," Ryan said, "I thought touching that core was a disaster. Turns out, it's the best thing that ever happened to humanity." Cerise smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting starlight. "And the best thing that happened to me?" Ryan laughed softly. "Let's make a promise. We protect it together. Humanity deserves a chance, and so do we." She nodded. Together, outside, the stars twinkled like distant sparks of hope. Somewhere out there, the keepers watched, still calculating, still plotting. But for now, one truth echoed across the galaxies. Humans were unpredictable, unstoppable, and unstoppable in their will to survive. And that was enough to change everything. The core pulsed faintly inside the shuttle, synced to Ryan's heartbeat. It was more than a relic. It was a promise. The promise that humanity could rise, not just as survivors, but as innovators, explorers, and guardians of the future. Cerise placed her hand over his. "Are you ready?" Ryan looked at her, at the stars, and the endless possibilities. Always. Together, they stepped into the shuttle, ready to chart a course across galaxies to prove that humanity could face any challenge, and that no force, not even ancient cosmic guardians, could ever predict or stop them. And somewhere deep in the void, the core of creation pulsed brighter, as if approving,